everyone, welcome to Mr. Teach Film Preach. And if you're a film lover like I am and you learn from films as much as I do, then you are in the right place. And if you're in the right place, click like down below and subscribe to my channel for more content. What did you think of this movie, She Said? Was this one of your top 10 films of 2022? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. And while you're down there, click like and subscribe to my channel. Subscribe, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that bell button to notify you when I've released another video. Today we're talking about the 2022 based on a true story, She Said. Directed by Maria Schrader, written by Rebecca Linkiewicz, starring Carey Mulligan as Megan Twohey and Zoe Kazan as Jodi Kantor. The film tells the true life story of New York Times reporters Jodi and Megan, who break a massive story around sexual assault and systematic harassment in Hollywood that shattered decades of silence and helped ignite a movement. But it mainly focuses on the actual investigation into Harvey Weinstein that broke this article in the New York Times. It is a fact-based, straightforward biopic about these two reporters and the lives that they impacted as investigative journalists. And I love that this film really shows what it takes to be an investigative journalist, the things that you have to do, the people you have to talk to, the connections you have to make, and all just the little politics about being an investigative journalist is so great in this film. This reminds me a lot of other films like All the President's Men and Spotlight that is about journalists trying to get to the center of the truth of the story. True stories of real people making an impact, making a difference in the world. Second of all, the story itself is so important, so impactful. The script is penned very well. I thought the dialogue was excellent. Actually seemed like this is how people talk and this is the conversations that they have. Some of these conversations they did record and they actually have recordings of. The script was very well done and one of the stronger points about this movie. Best thing about this movie is the story itself, how intriguing it is, like the fact that this is a true story, this really happened, and that case, but also how that has transcribed with like the Me Too movement and all that stuff. So it feels very fresh in my memory, and there were things in this movie that I didn't know. Like, it was so great to see. They pulled a lot of stuff from the book that this film is based off of, which was great because you got to really understand where these two journalists came from without diving too much into them, because the story of the victims and the women is what's more important. Yes, they were doing their jobs. Yes, they were paid to do this thing, but I do think in a way they are heroes. But that's not what this film is interested in telling. It's definitely much more about what happened, the conversations with the victims, with the families. I think a lot of people are going to take a look at Maria Schrader and say she didn't really do much with this film. At the same time, I have to rebuttal and say I think it's in a way a good thing that she kept everything very about the performances, about the characters, about the conversations, and didn't really add too much cinematic flair, where this is much more of a procedural process film. And so the focus needs to be on the characters and the conversations, not on the camera lens, the way that they shot the scene, the aesthetic of the scene itself. Though there are some great shots in this movie and there are some beautiful locations that they film at, but like the cinematography wasn't amazing. The camera movement didn't really happen too much. It was more so like steady cams, everything's on a tripod, nothing shaky, a couple of close-ups, a bunch of over the shoulders, nothing too creative camera-wise, which in some regards I'm a little disappointed in. But I also understand why they went in the direction they did with this film. You want to tell this story and be respectful of the victims, of the people who are still going through this horrific situation that only happened a few years ago. But at the same time, I'm still an audience member. At times I was a little bit bored with this film and I felt they were missing a little bit of that cinematic flair, as I like to call it. Story is the main focus of this film, not the filmmaking. The performances are amazing. Carey Mulligan and Zoe Kazan. I don't know who should be nominated for an Oscar, but I hope one of them is. Probably going to be Carey Mulligan, but I mean, honestly, Zoe Kazan is maybe in some scenes she's even better.
You wish you hadn't signed up for this story.
Do you?
No.
The only way these women are going to go on the record
As if they all jumped together.
The rest of the ensemble is amazing. Like, Andre Braugher is great in this film. I wish he was in it more. He only has a couple of scenes, but he is awesome, especially in the last like 30 minutes of the film. Patricia Clarkson was awesome. I thought everyone was top notch. I'm curious to see women talking, to see how that matches up with this film, but I feel like this is one of the stronger ensemble films this year. Everyone from the lawyer to Laura, everyone else who just had like 1 or 2 scenes in this film, I thought they were all spectacular and spot on. So bravo to the ensemble, to the cast of this movie.
Ooh, bravo!
Beyond the script and the story and the performances, there's not much else here to talk about. There are some scenes where I was emotional and I did cry and I was emotionally invested in this story and these characters, but at the same time, no one has an arc in this movie. Like, no characters have any revelation because the story's not focused on that. But for me, with a film, I want to know these characters and be on their side and fall in love with them, or at least become friends with them. This film is not about that. This film is about finding the facts, finding the truth, and putting the story together. If you're someone who likes procedural-based filmmaking about a story like this, you'll probably say this is one of your favorite films of the year. For me, it just didn't quite crack that.
You're breaking my heart.
The story itself is up here, where the filmmaking, the decisions of the shots, the music was fine, but it wasn't amazing. I thought the editing was a little bit choppy, especially near the beginning, the first 15 minutes of this movie. Style of filmmaking and the tone that is set throughout this movie makes it not a very rewatchable film. I definitely felt a lot of emotion, but I think the filmmaking doesn't actually elicit very much out of me besides the actual just story and script itself. I do hope that people go check out this movie because it is important. It is an important piece of history. So I'm gonna go ahead and give She Said a B. What did all of you think of She Said? Was this an amazing film and one of your favorites of the year? Or did you think it was just okay? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. And while you're down there, click like and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to hit that bell button to notify you when I have released more videos. Thank you so much for watching Mr. Teach Film Preach. I hope you had a great time. I know I did. Come back and check out some other films like The Menu, The Banshees of Inisherin, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Have a great day, everyone. Stay focused, stay awesome, and as always, let's get taught.